Hey, what's up, guys? What's up? Hey, Howard. Good evening to you, too. Welcome back. Dr. Jaws here, and tonight we are meeting the Starry Smoothhound, Musteus asterias. This is going to be really cool because it's been a while since we've been back to European waters. Although a lot of the sharks that we cover, I mean, they're global, so they enter like the North Atlantic and everything. But this species is more restricted to Northern Europe, so it's going to be really cool to cover it. Speaking of Northern Europe, we have the Netherlands officially with us. I have added the flag of the Netherlands to our bar, so this is our fourth country that is joining us as far as our Dr. Jaws shark community. So it's really cool to welcome a new nation, and yeah, it's just really exciting. So shout out to the Netherlands. Thank you for joining. Howard, this is awesome. So this piece of art that you submitted for the Starry Smoothhound, I just have to say it's. I just need to say this is my favorite work so far for like 2025. This looks gorgeous. So just want to take a moment to kind of like highlight this, and I wonder if I can zoom in. There we go. Because I definitely want to just see some of the details. So this piece is just simply beautiful, and it's captures. I actually think you got the body form of the Smoothhounds Triachidae like play. Specifically, it's kind of hard to capture that head where the head is a little bit wider around the gills, and then it narrows into kind of like a what's the word? Not like a shovel shape or a spade shape, but kind of like more of like a it's like the bottom of the snout for Smoothhounds is a little bit more flat. Smoothhounds have these beautiful ridges over their eyes and these beautiful kind of like elongated eyes. So to me, I always call them like the fresco sharks. They look like they're out of like a mosaic, or like they just like look really beautiful. But and their shape is very unique. And I just feel like in this piece, like you captured the Smoothhound's body form so well. So just bravo. I mean, it's such a cool shark. It's kind of like an intermediary between like a cat shark and like some of the big sharks, like bull sharks and sandbar sharks. So Smoothhounds are kind of in the middle, where they're sort of elongate, but they sort of have more of like the robust features, like the tall dorsal fins and kind of like more of like a stockier body. So honestly, this is super cool looking. So thank you so much for sending this over. This is a beautiful piece of art by Howard Care. So thank you so much. Love the coloration on it. Loved like the yellow highlights, kind of reflective of the sun. And the biggest thing is the spots. So the white spots along the back. This is a distinguishing feature of this Smoothhound. In Europe, at least, there's no other Smoothhound that has this. So this is actually an easy way to identify the species versus other species. Also appreciate that you have a common shore crab with this Smoothhound in this piece of art. The colors are just A+. Like, this just looks really great. I'll zoom out for the full effect. But thank you so much for sending this over. This is a really great piece. It's definitely personally my favorite so far for 2025. So this is awesome. Thank you so much. And I think with that, let's dive into this species. So let's see. Also, kind of fun fact, got I don't know if anybody would recognize this kind of music. I would, because like, so I was like a 90s kid, 90s, 2000s kid. It's the weird era of like, well, not the weird, the awesome era of like, Pokemon, the Star Wars prequels, and Harry Potter. And I got the Harry Potter video game music on in the background. And it's by the same composer as like the Elder Scrolls, like Skyrim and stuff. So it's kind of a fun vibe for tonight. Figure it might be fun to kind of celebrate Europe in a unique way. So here we go. So this is the species that we're talking about, and video's kind of cutting out. Sorry about that. This is the Starry Smoothhound, Musteus asterias. So what's kind of cool is that you can see that this individual is perfectly fine. He is just chilling on the seabed. It's very subtle, but you can see him actually pumping water over his gills. You can see some movement in the gill slits right here. And it's actually really cool. This person should not be touching it, but he's trying to get a movement out of the shark, but shouldn't be touching sharks like that. But it's really cool to see that shark is very at home on the bottom, on the seabed, just kind of chilling out, and can actively pump water over its gills to make sure that it continues to breathe. So it's a really great example that debunks that myth that all sharks need to swim in order to breathe. I would say it's kind of like half and half. Like roughly half of sharks maybe need to do that, but the other half can just absolutely sit on the seabed and just chill out, or hide in like rocky caves or crevices, and be perfectly fine. So a couple things I noticed immediately about the species. One, you see the beautiful spots on the back, so it's a gorgeous shark. And it's actually really cool that you can theoretically dive with the shark or snorkel with the shark. They do occupy shallow European waters, and with clear visibility, it's pretty likely that you can see one. Some of the videos that we've seen tonight, or that we have lined up for tonight, are just people seeing these sharks come close to the beach or come close to harbors. So it's a pretty cool species as far as like potentially interacting with humans. Perfectly harmless, like all smoothhounds. The Starry Smoothhound has kind of more like pavement-like teeth, so it's not really a fish eater. It's kind of more like mollusk, like shellfish, crustaceans, mollusks. That's kind of more of its diet. So perfectly harmless around humans. So really fun, friendly shark to observe underwater. A couple other features, because I'm in Virginia and we have the dusky smoothhound, which is a cousin of the species, and that's a species that it's actually coming back into the bay roughly around April. Some can wander in March, but roughly around April. But for this species, I can see that the fin, when you compare it to the dusky smoothhound in Virginia, or in the East Coast United States, the Starry Smoothhound has kind of like a more robust body. The dorsal and the pectoral fins are a little bit larger and a little bit more kind of like sharper looking, like a little bit more angular looking. So, and obviously the spots on the back, this really beautiful pattern on the back of the animal. So, we'll play one more clip of this, and then we'll move on to other pieces of video. But it's kind of cool to see these really nice ridges on the back, like these really nice lines. It's kind of cool to see an interdorsal ridge. This is usually a characteristic that's important for requiem shark identification, like carcharodonid identification. But it's kind of cool to see a smoothhound with a very defined interdorsal ridge here. So again, just need to say it, please don't harass sharks like this. This shark was just chilling on the seabed, enjoying his life, and this fisherman is, kind of harassing it. The shark doesn't seem super agitated, but he definitely wants to get out of that situation. So please leave sharks alone. Observe them and be with them, but at a respectful distance. But yeah. So some more footage of this species. These are captive species, but it's kind of cool to see a comparison between the Starry Smoothhound and other kinds of smoothhound sharks. So this one is a Starry Smoothhound in the foreground, again, and then this one is just I think it's musculus, like the classic smoothhound. So if it doesn't have the spots, it's like the classic smoothhound shark. But this one has the spots. You can barely see it right here. So this is a Starry Smoothhound. So very graceful shark. Again, completely harmless, and just really, really pretty kind of body form. Here's one that's actually kind of exhibiting an interesting behavior. So this smoothhound is swimming very close to the surface. You can see its dorsal fin, and I love how big the dorsal fins are, but the first dorsal fin is out of the water. And what's kind of cool is that the snout is almost out of the water too, and the eyes are like out of the water as well. And this might be classed as spy hopping behavior. So smoothhound sharks are known to spy hop, and I forget what the advantage is for this particular group of sharks to do this, but spy hopping is lifting your head out of the water to kind of look at your surroundings. So for smoothhounds, I'm not exactly sure why they do this, but it's actually really cool. Look at this. His head is fully out of the water at that point. So let's take a look at that again. I've heard that white sharks do this, and they do that to kind of take a look at their surroundings as it relates to seals or just like boats or like whale carcasses. Like white sharks are very comfortable having their massive heads out of the water, but smoothhounds do this too, and I'm not exactly sure again why they do it, because these are more of a bottom-dwelling shark, so it's kind of strange to see them do this kind of behavior. But it's also really cool. You never think you would see a shark coming this close to the surface and kind of doing the classic, fin kind of movement, but beautiful to see it. And again, it's a harmless, gorgeous little shark. It's strange that he's swimming in more of an agitated way as he gets closer to what appears to be like a ledge of some sort. Like a dock? Let's see. There's a buoy. So, yeah. Kind of interesting behavior. I'm not exactly sure why this individual is doing this, so... Oh wow, lots of comments. Hey guys, what's up? Okay, sorry, I just saw these, so... Let's see. Oh, thank you, Spingus Dingus. Welcome to the channel. So... That is... thank you. Bibia666, welcome back. The Dutch call this spotted smooth shark. And I apologize if I'm not going to pronounce this correctly. Gevlekte glade high. I don't know if I'm pronouncing that correctly. I apologize if I'm not. So, how are they find them stranded on the beach in England? Interesting. So, yeah, just to double check their distribution, because I am curious how large it is. Here we go. So it is Europe and Northern Africa. So I had that mostly right, but I didn't realize it covered pretty much the entire of the Mediterranean. So let's check it out. Here we go. So Starry Smoothhound, Musteus asterias, can be found in Denmark, Netherlands, Germany, Belgium, United Kingdom, Ireland, France. So pretty much this North Sea, Celtic Sea area. It's really cool to see that. A little bit in southern Norway, a little bit of a presence in southern Norway, which is really cool. Let's see, Spain, Portugal, Italy. This is really cool. So, across much of the Mediterranean, Egypt, Libya, Morocco, Algeria. Are these the Canary Islands? Let me see what islands these are. Yes, these are Canary Islands. Gotcha. So, sometimes, this is really terrible, sometimes I get my geography confused, but there's a really awesome group of islands. Canary Islands are awesome, but there's this really interesting group of islands called the Azores, and the reason they're interesting is that they're right in the middle of the Atlantic, and it's where all three continental plates converge of the Atlantic, so you have like, or at least in the North Atlantic, so you have North America, Europe, and Africa colliding together, and at this place called the Triple Junction, and the Azores are part of the Triple Junction, so just kind of random fun fact there. But yeah, so Starry Smoothhound has a northern European, North African distribution, definitely North Atlantic distribution, temperate North Atlantic distribution, which is interesting. It does not seem to go into polar areas, and it also doesn't seem to go in tropical areas. It's right in that temperate zone, which is pretty cool to see that. Here is one that it's kind of cool to see, to show like how possible it is to encounter this species in shallow water. This is a shark, just a Starry Smoothhound, swimming right up to a beach. So it's kind of cool to see that. And it might be behaving perfectly normally. It could be searching for invertebrates. So a fun, slightly terrifying fact for pretty much any beach around the world is in the sands, in the intertidal zone, in the mud, even within the pebbles, there's a lot of marine invertebrates, and specifically like, worms, crabs, copepods, amphipods, and the shark might be searching for some. He might be getting close to the beach in actual search of invertebrates. Like this zone, it seems like it's empty, but the reality is there's a lot of potential food in this area. Lots of invertebrates buried in the rocks and the sand. So this is a great shot of a Starry Smoothhound just chilling out in this pebbly beach. It's really cool. So I think he's probably hunting. He seems pretty healthy. I'm going to turn the music down slightly. But he does seem pretty healthy as far as his behavior goes. I've seen this is a totally different setting, but I've seen a bonnethead shark do something similar, and I was able to encounter one in North Carolina just because it was doing the same thing. It was like coming very close to shore, so you can actually walk, wade into the water and just be with the shark. It's just really cool. So some sharks do this. It's not super common, but it's actually really cool that, even if you don't snorkel, even if you don't dive, there's opportunities to see sharks sometimes. So, and clearly, you have some people very interested in this individual, so that's really fun to see, actually. So, let's see. Oh, cool. Maybe a 666. It was spotted in the Thames. Gotcha. Quite the traveling type. Yep. Very cool. And actually, I didn't realize that the shark could be found in the Thames. I don't know much about the Thames other than it's like an estuary, but I don't know much about the ecology of uh, that river. So that's actually really cool that the sharks could be found there. Very, very cool. All right, and just to make sure, I don't know if Bibio or Spingus saw this first clip. It's just really a beautiful piece of footage, so I'll just play it one more time. This is one of the Starry Smoothhounds just chilling out on the seabed. Also, Spingus Dingus, if you don't mind me asking, what country are you from? Because I like checking in when there's new viewers, just to make sure that I have all the flags represented, so everybody's represented. So just just shout out to where you're from. It's also kind of fun to do if you're comfortable, not to put you on the spot, but it's also kind of fun to do for ecoregions. And if we have time tonight, I can show like the ecoregion map, because every like you can subdivide the ocean to these different like pieces that based on habitat. So it's kind of cool. Actually, I'll pull that up a little bit. I think I talked about ecoregions recently. I think last week I actually pulled it up. So, but yeah, beautiful shark. Let me pull up the. It's like Data Basin Marine Ecoregions of the world. I don't know about you guys, by the way, but I'm starting to feel just spring is starting to happen a little bit, a tiny bit. Like it's starting to get brighter here. It's still really cold. And actually in the Chesapeake Bay region, it's the coldest water temperature you're going to get is February. But that's it. Like after this month, things start kind of moving along. So I'm getting really excited because we have a massive movement of sharks where right now we only have the spiny dogfish or the pike dogfish, Squalus acanthius, in the Chesapeake Bay right now. We also have basking sharks, but they're extremely rare. So that's kind of like it's not really reliable to count on them in the bay just because it's such a rare phenomenon. But in April and maybe March, you start to see some of the warm water sharks coming in, including our own smoothhound, the dusky smoothhound. So, just gonna pull this up. Data Basin's always a little temperamental. It's a really great resource. It's just I promise I won't spend too much time on this, but yeah. Howard, it was 5 degrees here today. Oh wow, wow. 5 degrees. Is that 5 degrees? Is that Celsius? And forgive me, I forget what Canada uses because America has the bizarre Fahrenheit system, and I don't know why we do that. It's really terrible, actually. But let me see. Celsius to Fahrenheit. Like I feel like. Because like either way, it's cold. Because like 5 degrees Celsius would be 41 Fahrenheit. Celsius, okay, that's still pretty cold. Not well, actually no, that's still really cold. That's 41 degrees Fahrenheit. So thank you for clarifying. I thought Canada had Celsius. So, and like it's the better system. It is the better system. I don't know if we're the only nation who uses Fahrenheit, but Fahrenheit makes 0 sense. It is So. Database is not starting up, so what I'll do is I'll just leave this in the chat because it's just a really cool tool. It's like you open this map and you see all these different parts of the ocean. So wherever you're from in the world, it's just really cool to explore. So I'll just leave that in the chat. And you can see a preview of it here where it breaks the ocean up into these different ecoregions that they're well defined. They're based on biological and geological features. So a mix of geological and biological. Oh, there now it loads. Once I give up on it, now it loads. So there we go. And actually, this gives us a cool shot of seeing what regions the Starry Smoothhound occupies. So let's check it out. Okay, so you can see that on the general range map of the Starry Smoothhound, you know, we can see that he's all over the Mediterranean, Morocco, Iberian Peninsula, British Isles, and when you compare that to this map, you can break it down into the different ecoregions. So, and this will show you like what the ecoregions are. It's not going to show you what makes them, like what delineates them, and you have to kind of like look for like regional guides to kind of have those explanations. But we've got the Azores, Azores, Canaries, Madeira is this ecoregion. So if I'm understanding that correctly, the Azores and the Canary Islands are kind of similar ecologically. So even though they're kind of far apart, ecologically they're very similar. So they're treated as one unit, one ecoregion. We've got the Saharan upwelling, so that's actually really cool that our species is in the Saharan upwelling zone. The Alboran Sea, the Western Mediterranean, distinguished from other parts of the Mediterranean. The Tunisian Plateau, Gulf of Sidra. The Ionian Sea, which is really cool. It's like the sea of the ancient world. You know, any fans of like Greek Roman history? The Mediterranean Sea. The Adriatic Sea. The Adriatic Sea also similar. But Adriatic Sea and Ionian Sea, they behave a little bit differently. This is the Aegean Sea. Yep. The Levantine Sea. And is this shark in the Black Sea? It's not in the Black Sea, so I'm going to exclude that. Very few sharks actually exist in the Black Sea. We do have Squalus acanthius, the piked dogfish. It actually lives in the Black Sea, but not a lot of sharks are known from that area. But because the salinity is reduced, and also you can see it's largely isolated from the Mediterranean, which itself is largely isolated from, or not isolated, but like it's just such a narrow. The Strait of Gibraltar is just so narrow. You know, like it makes sense that not a lot of sharks make it to the Black Sea, but still pretty interesting. Where else can we find this shark? We can find it in the South European Atlantic Shelf. These are the Celtic Seas. It's actually really cool that the Celtic Seas are treated differently than the North Sea, and I actually don't know what the difference would be, but there's something about the Celtic Seas that make them distinct from the North Sea, which is pretty interesting. This shark kind of dips into southern Norway. And then lastly, what's this? I don't think it lives here, but let's double check. It does not. So it's not in this area, which is the Faroe Plateau. It's not there. So pretty interesting distribution. Kind of fun chance to check out ecoregions. I love this map, and I think it's really fascinating. So marine ecoregions of the world. Definitely I recommend checking it out. It's really cool. So we're going to leave this site. I left the link in the chat, but yeah. Not terrible. I've ridden my bike in -6 degrees. Whoa, that's wild. Wait, let me convert that. That's amazing. 6 degrees. 21 Fahrenheit is, yeah, so -6 degrees Celsius, 21 Fahrenheit. That's really, really cold. My goodness. Whew. All right. I think what we'll do is let's check out. We'll check out some. I think we'll check out some species kind of overview for the Starry Smoothhound. We'll go into its conservation needs, and then we'll kind of check out our research. So here we go. So this is by Shark Trust, which is a pretty important group. I want to say they're based in the United Kingdom, but I would say United Kingdom and Europe. They're a pretty important group. For shark conservation. So this is the Shark Trust Starry Smoothhound profile. Really lovely illustration showing some of the features again I really love about Smoothhounds. You have the two really like tall, kind of I don't want to say imposing, but just like these really like attractive dorsal fins. They're just really tall. They have kind of like that command of larger sharks. So I just think it's really cool looking. The pectoral fins are also pretty interesting too. Just this beautiful shape that's a little bit more squared off, but kind of has like that falcate curve. The eyes are gorgeous. I love smoothhound eyes. Like they just these unique, elongate, like beautiful, usually very reflective, very iridescent, like almost like gemstone eyes. Are very pretty, and they have this really cool crest. So, or like a ridge. It's just they have such a profile, such like a unique look to them. So, super cool group of sharks. Some common names, we have the Starry Smoothhound, the Stellate Smoothhound, it's actually a cool name. Aristotle's shark, I actually really like that. That's actually really cool, because, again, I keep calling these guys like the fresco sharks and the mosaic sharks. There's just something about them that looks like, and I think the reason I keep saying it is I believe there is a Roman bath that actually does have a shark tile mosaic, and I can't remember where it was, but I do believe it was depicting a smoothhound because of the fins. I'm trying to remember where I found that, but it might have been. I used to take Latin class in high school, and it might have been in one of my Latin books. But that's really cool that they call this Aristotle shark, just because it's like I just feel like, and actually when we look at the range map, I mean, this shark would have been known to like ancient civilizations all around the Mediterranean. So, I mean, that's actually like, I mean, actually, when you look at it, I mean, Egypt, Carthage, Egypt, Carthage, Rome, Greece, like, that's actually really wild. Troy, yeah. So, Rome, Greece, Troy, Egypt, Carthage, all of them would have known this shark, and more. There's so many more, but like, that's actually really cool that ancient just like ancient pieces would have had depictions of this species potentially. So Aristotle shark, that's really cool. The Gefleckter Hunschei, I don't know if I'm saying that right. Musola estrellata, Emisotashiti. Oh, there it is. I think Bibia mentioned this name, the Gevlekte Tunhai. Actually, no, I think it was a different Gevlekte. Make sure I got that right. Gevlekte Glad High. Gotcha. Okay, so slightly different, but yeah. Also, let's see. Celtic Sea is more Adriatic Sea, much deeper, cooler, and wild-weathered compared to North Sea. Oh, that's really cool, which is quite shallow compared to the Atlantic, mild-mannered. Interesting. Did not know that. That's super cool. Thank you, Bibia666. That's awesome. Spotted Dog Shark. That's another English name. And then, I'm not going to say this right, Cação-pintado in, I think that's Portuguese, so... scientific name is Musteus asterias. Thank goodness we have scientific names to have a universal nomenclature for sharks. Let's see. We've got the distribution map. This is actually pretty interesting. This is a different breakdown. Look at these like little boxes. It's a little bit of a different breakdown. It's overlapping the same regions, but a little bit of a different breakdown than the ecoregions of the world. I personally prefer the ecoregions of the world, just because the marine ecoregions of the world is global, and it was a whole committee of scientists who agreed on those definitions. So, but for further information, again, I highly encourage. Each region has kind of like their own, like governments of each region kind of have their own interpretation of ecoregions. So, for example, in the United States, they have the marine ecoregions of North America, which mostly overlaps with the ecoregions of the world. They do make some interesting distinctions. For us, they do. Like in marine ecoregions of the world, there's some areas that include the Gulf Stream. For the ecoregions of North America, they'll split the Gulf Stream off from other nearshore areas. So, long story short, I recommend trying to find resources when we want to get into like more detail that are provided by local governments. But marine ecoregions of the world is a really good place to start. Just as far as like starting to organize the ocean and kind of seeing general patterns. So it's pretty cool. But let's see. Nominally recorded further south to Mauritania and Canary Islands, including Mediterranean Sea, but there's potential for taxonomic confusion. So let's make a note of that. So this species somehow may get confused with other species, which I'm a little surprised by because the spots are unique to this shark. So we'll see what we can learn about that. Identification and color. Second dorsal fin is much larger than the anal fin. There we go. So that's feature 1. So you can see this dorsal fin is larger than the anal fin, which itself is pretty large actually. 2 is no dorsal fin spines, which is a pretty easy characteristics. No smoothhounds have fin spines at all. This is a characteristic to delineate smoothhounds from dogfish, which are in completely different orders. Large pectoral and pelvic fins, just makes sense. Molar-like teeth. And then, for comparison, the taupe shark, Galeorinus galeus, has cusp teeth. There we go. So molar-like teeth, it's another reason why this shark is relatively harmless, not relatively, completely harmless for humans. The molar-like teeth are for crushing, again, shellfish and oysters and, like crabs and things. They're not for biting larger prey. So, rows of white spots might be present on flanks. Absence of spots often leads to confusion with the common smoothhound Musteus. Interesting. So there are individuals with the white spots, which clearly make it Musteus asterias, and there's individuals who lack the spots, which cause confusion. I did not know that, so pretty interesting. Feeds almost exclusively on crustaceans. Interesting. This is a great diagram of the teeth. So this is an individual tooth of the smoothhound, the Starry Smoothhound, but they all combine together to make this kind of plate. It's kind of like a ray, actually, like a cow nose ray. Like these plates are for crushing shellfish. So let's see. It's interesting to see right here. Yeah, the global conservation status is least concerned. In Europe, it's near threatened, and the Mediterranean is vulnerable. It makes sense. The Mediterranean, unfortunately, as far as the North Atlantic goes, it's really, really intense fishing pressure comparatively. So, here we go. It's kind of cool to compare with similar species. So we got the common smoothhound, Musteus, which does look very similar without the spots. The black-spotted smoothhound, Musteus punctulatus. The taupe shark, Galeorinus galeus. And then the spiny dogfish, or pike dogfish, Squalus acanthius. And again, just shout out, we have these in my neck of the woods in the Chesapeake Bay of North America. They are here right now. They love the cold water. It's winter. Winter is their time in my part of the world. So it's kind of fun to see them here. It's a global species, or near global species. So let's see. Conservation status for the Starry Smoothhound. Limited species-specific catch data exists for Starry Smoothhound, as landings data normally groups all smoothhounds together. Population trends should be monitored to the species level across its range to inform effective management. Let's see. Commercially, this shark is a bycatch species in Atlantic bottom trawls, gill nets, and line gear, where discarding is variable. It's valued in the Mediterranean for its meat, which is utilized fresh, frozen, or salt-dried. Popular with recreational anglers and can be caught from shore. There's no species-specific management in Northeast Atlantic, but subject to FNA regulations. Interesting. So this is a nice two-pager. Very nice overview of the species, very clean. So I'm gonna take a sip of my. It's been a while since I've had tea on the stream, but this is a mix of lemon black tea and lemon herbal tea. So. I'm going to catch up on the comments as well. So, pavement dentition. Hund equals dog in German. Interesting. Dutch wiki doesn't give the name of Toonhai, tonal, or show shark. Toon equals either to show or tone in Dutch. Interesting. But Dutch Wikipedia Google gives Toonhai as Musteus. Interesting. So yeah, that's it. And thank you for clarifying that, Bibia666. That actually is really another great example of why the scientific names, Latin names, are just the best. because every government and every language has the Latin name no matter what. Even like I said this last stream, but like I just think it's really cool and very powerful that there is a unifying language for shark or for actually all life. As far as classification. So even like non-Romance, non-Germanic languages, like I mean, like Arabic and Chinese and Japanese, like they will have the Latin name no matter what. No matter what research organization in the world, it's going to have the Latin name. So it's super helpful because the common names can be very confusing. So this is a really cool key. So this is actually a great example of a dichotomous key. So this is a common scientific tool. I love using these in fisheries, but it's a common scientific tool where you look at you compare an animal to two traits, and the animal is going to fall into one of two categories, and it's kind of like choose your own adventure. It's like you follow the categories down, down, down until you can correctly identify the species. So let's check it out here. So when you start out with the key, if you look at our Starry Smoothhound, you've got these two features. We know that the first dorsal fin almost equal to the second. The short and relatively rounded snout, teeth not blade-like, molar form. So our shark has the the little pavement-like teeth. So that makes it different from the taupe shark. Taupe shark is Galeorinus. Taupe shark has these like sharp teeth, But our shark, our smoothhound, has like the flat pavement teeth for shellfish, so we know that we can go to this part of the key. These are really cool. Like dichotomous keys exist everywhere. Plants are a big one. I mean, like pretty much any species should have one. Any group of animals should have one, but I see it most often in plants and fish, and I just think they're actually really fun. So we know that this is definitely a Musteus. Our smoothhound, apparently, the distance between the nostrils is less than 1.4 times their length. So the tricky part of dichotomous keys is once you get closer and closer to your species, you have to look for very minute differences in features. So this is something I'm just going to trust the key on, because I don't have a shark with me and I can't measure it directly. But assuming if we did have one, we compared these two features, we know it's somewhere here. Finally, the final feature is gray dorsal surface with white spots. So this key is using the spots as an identification method, which is a little tricky because coloration can fade, like the spots can fade. But then again, I'm noticing here that here's the shark that it gets confused with, Musteus, and the key makes a point to do that whole, like, the distance between the nostrils and this, the distance between the nostrils is 1.4 times their length. Like, it's making a point to say that, hey, there's a physical proportion difference between the smoothhound Musteus and the starry smoothhound Musteus asterias. So, color aside, if you compare the snouts of the two animals, they are a bit different. So, but this is really cool. The final step in the key is just the spots versus the black spotted smoothhound Musteus punctulatus. So this is actually really cool to see how this works. And it's a really great example. It's a really fun way to kind of compare the three smoothhound sharks and kind of figure out how you delineate them. So pretty cool. Here's some live photo, or not live, but this is a freshly caught individual. So as opposed to a drawing, here's some photos of a smoothhound up close, so you can kind of see some of the features. This is so interesting, actually. I'm going to keep moving. This is a guide for multiple sharks. So there's some really beautiful blue shark photos. I do want to look at that in a second, but here we go. So this is Musteus asterias, the starry smoothhound. You can see, comparing that the two dorsal fins are equal size. The beautiful spots in the back, really, really pretty. You can see in this photo just like these really nice ridges too. Oh, sorry. I'll go up a little bit. Really nice ridges along the back as well. It's a shame this is a deceased individual. The eye shape is beautiful, but unfortunately, this it doesn't have the colors of life. But I do want to highlight this feature, which is this is where you can see the teeth in action. This is the teeth right here. It's the molar-form crushing plate. So right here, where my cursor is, where my cursor is, these are all teeth. They're extremely tiny. So again, this shark is completely harmless to people, but a wonderful predator for shellfish. So crabs, oysters, mollusks. I mean, oysters are mollusks. I don't know why I'm thinking about oysters right now specifically, but yeah, the shark is beautifully adapted to handling, shellfish. So, hey, Mondre Mondo, welcome back. Welcome back. Let's see. Just catching up on the comments. So, Video 666, yes, agree on the Latin name part. They could be hard. Yes, Latin names could be really hard. I like the drawings of the differences between different types of smooth-hound sharks. Yep, agreed. I really like that I agree with you completely that I really like that they delineated it from the taupe shark. So, let's see. I do want to check out, just because some of these photos are beautiful. This is a gorgeous blue shark photo. I know it's not tonight's species, but this is a guide on, I think, sharks in, where is this? Let's actually go to the top. I'm curious where this guide came from. A lot of interesting species here. Oh wow, there is a thresher. This is the common thresher, Alopius vulpinus. Interesting. I just want to see what region this is. Here we go. Guide to shark. Okay, a guide to sharks and skates in Danish and adjacent waters. Okay, I'm actually really curious about this, so I do want to check this out really quick. Because we were talking about the North Sea, and I'm just really curious about what sharks live here. So, okay, because some of the life photos are really beautiful. Oh, here we go. Okay. Oh, this is all of them? Okay. Okay, cool. That's actually really handy, so I can just zoom in on this. Perfect. Alright, so sharks of Danish waters. You got the blunt-nosed six-gill shark. And this is going to be fun to compare. So this is, the opposite side of the Atlantic. So let's see. I definitely have this species in America. Blunt-nosed six-gill shark, we definitely have that species. This one's unique. The small spotted cat shark. Don't have that. Velvet belly lantern shark, we do have that. Gorgeous shark too. You can see in this photograph just like the beautiful purplish sheen, the dark belly, the green eyes. Gorgeous deep water species. The Greenland shark, we do have that. It's very rare here, but it lives in the deep water canyons here. The nurse hound, this is unique. Unique to Eastern Atlantic. So really cool. Very pretty shark. The thresher shark, across both sides of the pond, if you will. So Alopius vulpinus. The basking shark, one of my absolute favorites. I love basking sharks. Yeah, just gorgeous animal. You know what's interesting? The great white is not here. And I think that's really fascinating. And we might have talked about this before, but I wonder if it's because I know Norway is a big orca spot. Like orca whales do like to be in Norway. For just, I think they're going after herring. I could be wrong. Yeah, no, I think it is herring. And usually, if there's a high presence of orca whales, it scares great whites away. And I've always found it really fascinating that white sharks don't live in like northern European waters. They do live in the Mediterranean. They do live in the Eastern Atlantic, but you can't really find them in northern Europe. And I always thought that was really fascinating. And I'm just noticing that because they're not on this list at all. So even though some of their cousins are, the poor beagle is here. Love the poor beagle. The basking shark is here. But yeah, and the thresher shark. These are all cousins of white sharks. But I'm kind of curious if that's related to killer whales, also known as orca whales. So, but we got basking sharks, one of my absolute favorites. I've seen one in the wild a very long time ago. Enormous animal, super cool. That was off New Hampshire. Taupe shark. Galeranus galeus, very famous conservation shark. Our Starry Smoothhound, the angular rough shark. Oh man, the spiny dogfish, also known as pike dogfish, something we also have on the western Atlantic. The blackmouth cat shark, Galeus melastomus. I think we covered that one recently. I'll zoom in. There we go. And finally, the blue shark, which is the king of ocean traveling. Blue sharks are everywhere, a really gorgeous species. So it's actually a really beautiful collage of Danish sharks. So it's actually really cool to see them. As an assemblage, a lot of these species are shallow water bottom dwelling species. A few are pelagic and a few are deep water. So it's kind of cool to see that the blue shark, basket shark, porbeagle, and the thresher shark, these are all kind of more like open water pelagic hunters. The cat shark, nurse hound, taupe shark, starry smoothhound, and blackmouth cat shark, these guys would probably be more shallowish water, small sharks. And then you've got the six-gill shark, velvet belly lantern shark, Greenland shark, rough shark, and the dogfish. The dogfish goes in and out of shallow water, but these other guys are definitely deep water sharks. So it's a really cool assemblage, very interesting. So catching up on comments. Oh, interesting. Great white isn't common for North Sea because of shallow nature of the North Sea, I think. It's interesting because it's like that. That is an interesting hypothesis. I think great whites are okay with shallow water. The only reason I say that is because they're very common in Massachusetts. And Massachusetts has like they get really close to the beach, like scary close to the beach in Massachusetts. So it is a great hypothesis, but I think let's look this up. I'm actually really curious about this. Why aren't there great whites? Sharks in Europe. Sorry, not in Europe. In the UK. It's famous. It's not that it's too cold. I'm not gonna trust Reddit really. I see this little bit. Too cold is a large enough seal population. But too cold doesn't matter because white sharks uniquely can raise your body temperature. So it's not that. And actually, UK is warmer than New England and Canada, and white sharks have been found in both areas. So it's not the temperature, but it could be the seal population. That actually could be that. So interesting. I'll just put a pin in that, but. Let's see. I think I have some more top-level views on the Starry Smoothhound. So this is nice photograph zooming in on an individual from worms, the World Register of Marine Species. It's kind of funny. Worms is a little bit like fish base, except for everything. So everything you can possibly think of. And I don't know if I can actually. It's kind of funny. My screen is not showing worms. Here we go, worms. Yeah. I don't know why it's not showing the whole screen. Sorry about that. But the World Register of Marine Species, it's kind of like fish base except for everything. Speaking of fish base, we'll check out the fish base profile for the Starry Smoothhound. This is immediately completely wrong, unfortunately. Because look at that. That's bonkers. That's completely wrong. This is saying that the Starry Smoothhound lives everywhere, and that's just not true. That is either people confusing smoothhound species, or maybe this is a copy-paste map of something else, or I don't know what's going on here, but that's not correct. So, and sorry Fishbase, because Fishbase is usually awesome, but oh, here you go. I guess Fishbase heard me, because this is correct. This map is correct. That was odd. Am I hallucinating? Did everybody else see that? This was showing the world for a second. Now it's just Europe and Northern Africa. I mean, this is correct now. I guess Fishbase heard me. Okay, thanks Fishbase. You are great. that was strange. Anyway, here we go. Fish base Latin name Musteus, Latin for weasel, an ancient name for sharks, possibly referring to the pointed snouts, swift movements, and a rapacious feeding behavior of smaller predatory sharks. Asterias means starry, referring to the many small white spots on the dorsal upper surface of the body. So, beautiful name. This is actually, as far as Latin names go, one of my favorites. And it's also a great scientific name because it is descriptive of the species. The best scientific names are referring to the physical features of the species itself. There's a lot of animals that are unfortunately named after people, and it's kind of bad practice, and it's kind of frowned upon in the scientific community. They don't like that. You want to name something based on the physical features. So yeah, Bibia, perhaps you clicked on the map. You might be right. So could be that. Let me see if I don't know. Now I clicked on it and it opened up a new page. So I don't know. Let's see. Maybe it needed to refresh. I don't know why it did that, but maybe it loaded the default map, and then once we spent more time on it, it refreshed to the correct map. I'm not exactly sure, but let's see. Depth range 0 to 350 meters, so it's kind of cool to see. It's a shallow water shark that sometimes dips into the twilight zone a little bit. The cutoff into the twilight zone is 200 meters, so going to 350, it's dipping into it a little bit. Maximum published weight is 4.8 kilograms, so this is a small shark. This is like a puppy-sized shark. A common inshore and offshore shark found on the continental insular shelves from the intertidal down to at least 100 meters. Prefers sandy and gravelly bottom. Feeds primarily on crustaceans, crabs, hermit crabs, lobsters, and slipper lobsters. Ovoviparous, aplacental, with 7 to 5 young per litter. Size at birth about 30 centimeters. Utilized fresh and dry salted. Interesting. Oops, sorry, didn't mean to click on that. Not much more information, and it's typical for FishBase. So FishBase is a really good catalog, kind of top level view of everything. So let's keep rolling. Really nice photograph of a living individual by a photographer named Alan, 2018. Interesting. So gorgeous shot of the head. And again, shout out to Howard. I think in your piece of art, you captured it really, really well. So kudos again. That just looks really phenomenal. The photograph of the smooth-hound right here, beautiful, beautiful head with the elongate eyes. Kind of this like really cool jaw. Like it's kind of cool to see like the gill slits are kind of tucked behind the jaw a little bit. So a little bit of a pointed snout. And like all smooth-hounds, this is kind of like flush with the bottom. Like the bottom side of the snout is kind of flush with the seabed. It's a really cool, distinctive feature about smooth-hounds. So the beautiful starry pattern on the back. I really like that there's like more of a continuous line of white spots, kind of almost near the lateral line. It looks like almost. I don't know if I'm seeing that correctly. The lateral line, just as a refresher, all fish have this. So sharks, you know what? It's kind of funny. I'm sure skates and rays have this, but I don't know where to locate it on skates and rays now that I think about it. But sharks have this, bony fish have it. But it's a really cool feature along the side of the body that senses pressure. I'm sure skates and rays have it, but it senses changes in water pressure. So if there's like a fish that is swimming nearby, even if the shark can't smell it or see it, it can feel it. So if a fish is swimming, it exerts pressure on the water, and that water exerts pressure on the lateral line of sharks and other fish. And the shark feels it and, can make a decision or feel that stimulus and kind of like, change, turn in the water or do whatever it wants. Likely, it will perceive the animal even if it can't see it or smell it, which is super cool. So it's kind of like, a dumb analogy. It's like Star Wars and the Force. Like sharks could use the Force in a way. That's a really dumb analogy, but like it can sense changes in the environment in a way that we really can't, which is really cool. So Um, I guess the closest thing I can't even think of. I guess the closest thing, a really good analogy actually for humans would be if you're on an airplane and you're flying and you feel your ears pop because you're feeling the change in pressure. That's probably the closest analogy, but even that's not really good because the shark can actually literally feel animals around it changing just water, like changing, like exerting pressure on water and the water exerting pressure on the shark cells. So um, it's a cool feature. I don't have a good analogy for it. So, but long story short, it looks like this line of spots is kind of near the lateral line or along it. So I really like that it's kind of a continuous line right here, and then you have these like more loose collection of spots in the back. So it's a really, really gorgeous shark. So, yep, baby, I absolutely agree. Beautiful picture. So, it looks a bit like the one you did last week, different colors per size too. Lateral lines plus, yes, good point. Lateral lines plus ampullae lorenzini. That's an excellent point. Love the ampullae lorenzini. As a refresher, they are electromagnetic sensing organs at the snout. I wonder if we can find a picture of this shark. Actually, we should be able to see it here if this is a very accurate illustration. Shoot, it's not going to show it, is it? Let's see if we can find... You know what? We should be able to find the ampullae lorenzini here. Let's take a look at some Danish sharks. Oh, actually, it's a great opportunity to see some really awesome photographs. So here's a 6-gill shark. Oh man, these guys are awesome. They get huge. They're like the titans of the deep. Super cool. There's the thresher, also known as a common thresher. It's sad to see a basking shark landed like that. I will say though, something that's really cool, kind of fun shark trivia, and this might be a really good opportunity to show this. So original legends of sea serpents come from basking sharks, or at least some of them do, because when a basking shark carcass, if it washes to shore. When a basking shark carcass dehydrates and just gets damaged, you have this enormous animal that is like very shriveled up and very long, so it looks like a sea snake with a big mouth. So this is like a lot of like the original sea serpent, sea snake monster legends actually come from basking sharks, which is ironic because basking sharks are completely harmless. Like they're these beautiful plankton-eating massive animals. Yeah, just fun trivia. You can kind of see it a little bit here. Like this carcass is a little bit damaged, so you can kind of see like with that decay how some of the sea serpent legends started to begin. Because if you are like living hundreds of years ago in Europe and or North America, and you see this wash up on the beach and you have no idea what it is, it sparks your imagination. So. Here's a good example of the ampullae lorenzini. So this is a poor beagle shark. And here you go. A really great shot of these pores right here. These are the ampullae lorenzini. And I know veterans of the channel know this, but we have a couple new viewers, so just wanted to do a shout out to this really cool feature. These pressure sensing, not pressure sensing, electromagnetic field sensing organs, these pores connect to these jelly-filled sacs that are able to detect electromagnetic fields. So every living animal gives off, including us, we give off electromagnetic fields. And if a shark gets close enough, and it has to be pretty close, like a couple meters, it can detect the electromagnetic field of an animal. So even if an animal is like buried in the seabed, completely out of sight, the smell is completely concealed, and it's not even exerting pressure in the water, the shark can still feel its electromagnetic field, which is unbelievable. It's super, super cool. So it's a true sixth sense that only sharks have. It's just an amazing thing. So great shots of poor beagles. This is a classic photo from NOAA of a poor beagle shark. These are really adorable cousins of great whites. Giant first dorsal fin. Really large pectoral fins, but it's more compact looking than a great white shark. So I love pork beagles. I think they're really cool, just because they're so unique looking. So while we're here, we could just there's not that many sharks of Danish waters, so I think we could just kind of finish these photographs because some of them are really good. This is a blackmouth cat shark. Small spotted cat shark, very pretty species. The nurse hound, which I'm not that familiar with, this is actually really, really gorgeous. Scaleridus stellaris, I'm actually pleasantly surprised this is a Scaleridus. It just looks so, like, chunky. I'm used to Scaleridus cat sharks being a little bit more slender, so it's actually really cool. The taupe shark, Scaleridus galeus, so huge important species, hugely important species for conservation. Our shark tonight, the Starry Smoothhound. Who's this? Oh, and the blue shark. So beautiful photographs of blue sharks. Love these ocean dwelling sharks. Actually, some of the most prolific sharks in the world. They actually have some of the largest litters. I think, if I'm not mistaken, blue sharks can have 80 pups. So they're really unique as far as sharks go, because most sharks only have a handful of pups, or just have really kind of very low fecundity. But it's kind of cool that blue sharks have a lot of offspring. So some deep water species, velvet belly lantern shark. That's also a really nice view of the Ampulion lorenzini here too. So like these. That's actually a really good shot of them right here. Different arrangement, but still it's the same organ, so it's really cool to see on the deep water shark. The Greenland shark. That's a really nice shot of the scale of a Greenland shark. They get to be pretty big. The angular rough shark. Oops. Very unique looking animal. It kind of looks like a swimming pyramid. Really pretty. And then the pike dogfish, also known as the spur dog, whose spines are slightly venomous. So, fun fact, they're not lethal, but they're a lot like sea raven spines, where if you're stung, it's gonna hurt, it's gonna swell up, it's not gonna be fun, but you'll be fine. Just ice water and time, and you'll be fine. So, oh, cool. Let's see. Oh, cool. Thank you, Howard. Bibby was asking what's behind the eyes. Spherical. So sphericals are really interesting. They're kind of like a hyper modified gill slit. So, do they have the salmon shark? No, they do not, because salmon sharks, that's a great question. Salmon shark, so poor beagles, I feel like poor beagles and salmon sharks, they're kind of like, they're both lambda, and they both kind of occupy similar niches, but poor beagles are a little more like the Atlantic sharks, and salmon sharks are more Pacific. So, that's a really great question. I don't think they do because of that, I don't think, I think salmon sharks are limited to the Pacific, but they do occupy very similar niches and comparable parts of the world as far as like being temperate water. So yes. Oh, Vivia, sorry. So basking sharks. Yes. So basking sharks love plankton. Yes, that's correct. And basking sharks actually do have tiny teeth, but they're just so small. They're kind of like residual features. It's kind of like I'm trying to think of an example. It's kind of like because I think some whales have like hip bones technically, but those are also residual features because like whales don't need those. Like they just have their fins and the tails. So, oh, oh, have fun getting some coffee. No worries, no worries. Howard, angular rough sharks are bizarre. Yes, they're very unique. The Oxynotus group is so interesting and so different. I wonder if we could pull up some Oxynotus photos for the rough sharks. such a strange group, and I think they're so cool. Just because there's no other shark that looks like that. This is a great view of what it looks like, and I hate that Google is doing this to me. Come on. I don't know why Google changed some of how you can see images. I can't like scroll over. That's really frustrating actually. But because it used to be a little bit different. So let's see if I can get a better shot. Oh, well, there you go. There we go. That's a good shot of one. Okay. We're going to play a different game with Google because it's starting to get irritating. Okay, there we go. There we go. So that's a great shot of kind of what makes these sharks unique. Like, this is what I mean when I say pyramid shape. Look at this. He's like a cross section of an angular rough shark, Oxynotus, is just like it's a pyramid. It's like this squashy triangle. They're really cute, and very unique group. So yeah, it's super cool. All right, let's see if there's any other last, and we still have to go through the conservation of the Starry Smoothhound. So I think we'll go through this species profile and then check out some conservation needs, and then I think dive into some research. So. Excuse me as I take a drink of water. Okay, the Starry Smoothhound, Musteus asterias. This is from the Southern IFCA, the Inshore Fisheries and Conservation Authority. Okay. There are 3 species of smoothhound in the North Atlantic: the Starry Smoothhound, the common smoothhound Musteus musculus, and the black-spotted smoothhound Musteus punctulatus. In UK and Northern European waters, the Starry Smoothhound is the dominant species. Interesting. There's been confusion over the distribution of common smoothhound in UK waters due to the species' morphological similarity to Starry Smoothhound. The white spots in the Starry Smoothhound are often used to identify it from the common smoothhound. However, the spots are highly variable and may not always be present. Therefore, the absence of spots does not necessarily indicate that the specimen is a common smoothhound. Genetic analysis has confirmed the natural distribution of the common smoothhound lies further south to the UK, along the west coast of Africa, Mediterranean Sea, and Western Europe. Farrell et al. Indicated only Starry Smoothhound are present in United Kingdom waters, and it is likely that historical records of the common smoothhound are misidentifications and probably refer to the Starry Smoothhound. Black-spotted smoothhound, the third species of smoothhound in the North Atlantic, occurs in the Mediterranean Sea and off northwest Africa. Interesting. Lifespan for the Starry Smoothhound is 13 years for males and 18 for females. 6 to 20 pups. Biennial, so that's every 2 years. Let's see, fishing seasons year-round. The Starry Smoothhound is distributed from Scotland and southern Norway down to the western Sahara and the Canary Islands. Specimens in the Mediterranean Sea are considered a separate stock from the Atlantic based on differences in reproductive biology. Interesting. So same species, but 2 different stocks. So Mediterranean Starry Smoothhounds and Atlantic Starry Smoothhounds. Interesting. A relatively small demersal shark, the Starry Smoothhound is widespread around the British Isles in waters of 10 to 199 meters in depth. It is most abundant along the southern and western coasts of the United Kingdom. Starry Smoothhound prefers sandy and gravelly bottoms, with juveniles often found in bays and large estuaries. The species has a special crushing dentition which helps it feed on crustaceans such as the velvet swimming crab, brown crab, and hermit crabs. Okay. I won't read all of this, I'll just kind of skim through this. Okay, interesting. All musculus are live-bearing, so viviparous means live-bearing, which is kind of interesting. This is a little bit different from what Fishbase was saying, but it sounds like... Oh no, it is the same. So the Starry Smoothhound gives birth to live young, but it doesn't have a placental connection. So other shark, bull sharks have a placental connection. I'm trying to think of some other ones. I think hammerheads have a placental connection. So sharks vary completely in the reproductive methods, but it's interesting that Starry Smoothhounds give live birth. Let's see. Okay, the reproductive cycle of Starry Smoothhound is not fully yet understood, but it's thought that the gestation period is around a year, followed by a resting period before the female mates again. Therefore, is likely the reproductive cycle is biennial. So that's actually pretty. I don't want to say it's standard, but it's kind of roughly standard, maybe a little bit longer than most sharks. So it's not the best reproductive cycle, but it's not the worst. The worst would probably be like dusky sharks mating every 3 years. That's really bad. And the best would be like sharp-nosed sharks, which can mate every year. Let's see. Just gonna skim through this. Oh, this is cool. Based on studies of smoothhound species in other areas, it is thought that immature individuals show high sight fidelity to nursery grounds. So that's actually really cool. And it's kind of a common thing with sharks. So baby sharks like to be in shallow water areas and have kind of more restricted ranges. When they get bigger, they like to go into deeper waters and expand their ranges and migrate. So some baby sharks like to stay in their nursery areas. Even, it depends on the species and depends where in the world they are, but some of them like to stay in nursery areas and stay there like throughout an entire year, so they don't do a seasonal migration. But then when they get bigger, some do the seasonal migrations. Now, if I remember correctly, some baby sharks in Florida will kind of stick to Florida all year round, but when they get bigger, they'll start to kind of venture northward in the summer. So. Okay. One population is thought to spend April to September in the coastal waters of the southern North Sea and English Channel before migrating to the deeper waters of the western English Channel, Celtic Sea, and northern Bay of Biscay from October to March. Whilst the other subpopulation appears to reside in the Bristol Channel, Irish Sea, and Celtic Sea throughout the year. Interesting. Currently, ICS consider the Northeast Atlantic Starry Smoothhound as a single stock. We'll kind of skim through this because this is kind of, very detailed life history data. There's limited targeted smoothhounds in the southern IFCA district, usually by fixed nets for human consumption. Much of what is landed is caught as bycatch and trawl and gun-up fisheries, although many fishers will discard smoothhounds depending on market demand. Smoothhounds are also sold as bait for pot fisheries, particularly whelk. Interesting. Discarded survival for European mussel species is not known, but studies outside Europe indicate variable survival rates depending on gear type. Arabian smoothhound, Musteus moses, caught in the prawn and trawl fishery, reported to experience 29% at-vessel mortality, whilst at-vessel mortality ranged from 24 to 93% for triachid sharks, family of ground sharks that smoothhounds belong to, caught in Australia and Tasmanian gillnet fisheries. A lower at-vessel mortality rate of 25% was reported for triachids captured by long line. Interesting. So, this measure is really important, at-vessel mortality. So this is, if a shark is caught in a net or a long line or something, and it's released, it's a probability of it surviving. So 29% is kind of low, 29% is good because it means that it's, if I'm doing my math right, 71% likely to survive. So 29% likely to die, 71% likely to survive. And it makes sense that smoothhounds are more likely to survive because remember I said earlier that they are actively pumping water over their gills. Sharks that have that ability usually do better, when they're caught in nets or hooks. Sharks that lack that ability, and I keep saying this, but hammerhead sharks, hammerheads have to keep swimming in order to survive. So when hammerheads are hooked or caught, they perish very quickly. They die very quickly. They have the worst at-vessel mortality. Hammerhead sharks, I think they last an hour to 3 hours on the hook. Whereas other sharks, like nurse sharks, they can last like 14 hours. So, it really depends on the species, but for smoothhounds, it makes sense that they have kind of like a lower risk of mortality, just because they do spend time on the bottom. They do actively pump water over the gills. So, it kind of makes sense that that figure is a little bit lower. So, yeah. Bivia 666. Oviviparous. So yes, sharks get really tricky because the the big thing, it's more nuanced than this, but the big overarching thing that I kind of grew up with as far as shark science goes, and kind of am used to, there's three major modes of reproduction. So there's oviparous, which is laying eggs. Ovoviparous, which is, it's kind of like the shark is kind of like, it has a yolk sac. It has the things that an egg has, but it's inside the mother. And so the sharks are born, but it's not like a placenta. It's not like mammals. It's kind of like, the rough way of understanding it is it's kind of like eggs inside the mother that hatch inside the mother and are birthed. So it's kind of it's hard to explain. It's like, I guess a better way to say it is like an egg, like a classic egg, like cat sharks lay eggs, they're oviparous. A classic egg has a yolk in it. So it's like you have a hard shell with a yolk inside and the embryo inside that. So that's very easy. That's the egg. That's oviparous. Ovoviparous is the embryo and the yolk, but it's inside the mother. So you don't have the hard shell, you don't have the casing, you're inside the mother's body. So that's ovoviparous. And then the last one, which is viviparous, is a shark with a placental connection. It's an embryo, kind of like a human, or I shouldn't say human, but like kind of like a man. I guess I can say human, but it's kind of like a mammal. It's not the same, but it's similar. So, as an example, cat sharks are oviparous; they lay eggs. These smoothhounds are ovoviparous. They have a yolk sac, but they eventually are born live. And then hammerhead sharks or bull sharks, those are viviparous. So they have a placental connection, and they are live birth. So it's kind of amazing. Like sharks, for anybody interested in like reproductive biology, like if anybody's interested in just like reproductive systems in the natural world, sharks are an amazing group to study. Like they really are shocking. Like how many different modes of reproduction they have. What's kind of cool is, like, in a weird analogy, I keep comparing them to, or some of them to mammals, because like most mammals have like viviparous reproduction, but as a cool comparison, there are some mammals that lay eggs. The famous ones being the platypus or the echidna. These are mammals that actually lay eggs. So, it's just kind of cool to see that like different parts of the animal kingdom have really wildly different forms of reproduction. And it gets more complicated than that for sharks. The big one being tiger sharks. There's something about the way they give live birth that is unique compared to other sharks, to the point where it justifies their own family. Their unique family, which is a recent discovery, Galeocertidae. So tiger sharks are a whole class of their own, which is really interesting. So. But good question. Thank you for asking that, because it's a really good foundation for shark biology, like how sharks reproduce. It is a really good, like, I feel like the orders of sharks, like understanding the orders of sharks and then understanding how sharks reproduce, those are kind of like the cool and understanding the physical features, like how sharks sense, like like we talked about the ampullae lorenzini, the lateral line, sight, smell, these are the cool foundations of shark biology. So it's a really great question. Thank you for asking that. So, let's see. I think I might skip landings value for the Starry Smoothhound, because I kind of want to get to the IUCN Red List assessment. Yeah, let's go ahead and check out how is the species doing. So this is the IUCN Red List, the International Union for the Conservation of Nature, which is a really great global framework for conservation and how species are doing. So apparently, Musteus asterias, the Starry Smoothhound, is near threatened, which is not that bad as far as sharks go. So let's see what's going on here. Why is it near threatened? Also, I feel like I'm zoomed in. I don't know what's going on with this view. Zoom out. Nope, that didn't really help. Okay, not sure why it's doing that, but sorry about that. Assessment information in detail. Okay. The Starry Smoothhound, Musteus asterias, is a small shark found in northeast and east central Atlantic and Mediterranean Sea, but absent from the Black Sea, from Scotland and southern Norway down to western Sahara and the Canary Islands. It is demersal, which means bottom dwelling, on the continental shelf from inshore to a depth of 199 meters. And we saw that Fishbase was saying that it goes deeper than that, but this is saying that it's only in the sunlit zone. So the Northeast Atlantic and Mediterranean Sea are considered different stocks based on differences in reproductive biology, limited potential for external recruitment in the event of population depletion. The species is caught in demersal trawl, gill net, trammel net, and longline fishing gear. In the northern parts of the Northeast Atlantic, it has little market value and is often discarded, so that's good. In the Mediterranean Sea and eastern central Atlantic, smoothhounds are valued for human consumption and are often retained and marketed. No reliable species-specific fisheries catch data are available because landings data often refer to all smoothhounds combined with taupe or spur dogs. That's not good. Those are all completely different sharks, and they really should not be combined as a data set because they're all completely different. They have completely different needs biologically, so that's really scary actually. Abundance trends and fishery independent survey data for Northwest Atlantic are estimated to be increasing. In the Whoa, okay. Okay, so let me repeat that. Abundance trends and fishery independent survey data from Northwest Atlantic are estimated to be increasing, so the shark might be growing in population. Interesting. In the Mediterranean Sea, abundance trends and fishery independent trawl survey data shows that this stock of Starry Smoothhound has been declining in both the Gulf of Lions and the Adriatic Sea over the past 50 years. It should, however, be noted that the situation in the Mediterranean Sea may be worse than estimated, given the grouping of smoothhounds in landings data and consequent masking of species-specific population trajectories. No information is currently available on subpopulation trends in the southern Mediterranean Sea and northwestern coast of Africa, although the Starry Smoothhound is also caught and landed there in relatively intense coastal fisheries. Taken together, this species is estimated to be increasing in the Northeast Atlantic and referred to have undergone a population reduction of around 70% of the past 3 generation lengths in the Mediterranean Sea and Black Sea. Due to similarly high fishing pressure along the continental shelves of the eastern central Atlantic, it is suspected the species has also undergone a similar level of population reduction there. Assuming the Northeast Atlantic region comprises 2/3 of the range of Starry Smoothhound, it is suspected that overall the species has undergone a population reduction of 20 to 29% over the past 3 generation lengths due to actual levels of exploitation, and the species is assessed as near threatened, close to meaning vulnerable. So this is kind of worse than I thought. Still not horrible, but kind of worse than I thought. So in a nutshell, the Mediterranean Sea population is declining, the North Atlantic population is increasing, and these two populations don't mate. They don't really mingle. And so as a whole species, it's nearly threatened, but if we lose a segment of the population, it might mean that the species one day may become vulnerable. So pretty interesting stuff to consider. So let's see. Oh, yes, Howard, absolutely. Sorry, I just saw this comment. Some sharks give virgin birth. Yes, so parthenogenesis. It's been documented in at least 2 sharks. I forget what the other one is, but bonnetheads, Sirena tabiro, is the famous example. Oh, interesting. Bibia, so... Oh, P.S. I can't read the left side of the screen. Let me see. Yeah, I'm trying to... sorry about that. I'm trying to fix that. What happens if I do this? That doesn't really work, does it? I think I have to update... Let's see, view, exit full screen. I'm going to elaborate on that. I'm just trying to see if I can... No, that didn't work. Zoom out. Zoom out. I think I have to update my viewer. Sorry about that. Yeah. I don't know why it's not you. It's definitely me. So I don't know why it's showing up like that. Sorry about that. So I'll try to fix that for the next stream. I think I have to update it. So I think that's probably what's going on. I'm using a system called Ecamm, but I haven't gone through the latest update. So some displays look good, like this looks good, but IUCN Red List for some reason is kind of chopping off. So I'll fix that. Sorry about that. But to answer your earlier question, oh, it's a great shot of a Starry Smoothhound actually. Oh, a good point by the way. North Sea has more protection, I think. That's a really good point. And I actually didn't know that. I'm not as familiar with, because I know there's Shark Trust UK, there's Basking Shark Scotland, there's a couple really cool like conservation groups, but I'm actually not 100% sure of the conservation picture of Europe, other than the Mediterranean is very overfished. So that's actually really cool. The North Sea has more protection. But let's see. So this is interesting. Big species, placenta live birth, media species, eggs inside live birth, small species, egg laying. Is that correct? That's a really interesting question. Because now that I'm thinking about it, I wouldn't go off of that because I'm really kind of thinking about it because lamniform sharks, so like sand tiger sharks, they are ovoviparous as well. So they do the eggs inside the mother and then birth from there. But they're very unique because the mother, like in a sand tiger shark, which is ovoviparous, and sand tigers get pretty big. The mother has these two uterine horns, and in each horn there is a pup that eventually grows to such a large size that it actually starts devouring siblings in the womb. It's called intrauterine cannibalism, which is really lurid, but it is a form of ovoviviparity, and in that sense, it kind of breaks that definition. So size doesn't really matter as kind of like a template. I really like that. I do like that statement as kind of like a, because like when I think about it, for the most part, large sharks do give live birth. Small sharks do lay eggs for the most part. However, when we break it down, there are exceptions like the sand tiger, and the sand tiger is a really big exception. So I would be careful using that. I think it's not a bad metric actually, because for the most part, it's kind of like a general trend that the smaller sharks, like these are like bottom dwelling, reef dwelling sharks. So these are like the horn sharks, the cat sharks. They do lay eggs. So it's a pretty interesting observation. I think that's actually a pretty good observation. But I think with the exceptions like the sand tiger shark, it kind of breaks it overall. So I'd be careful using it, but it's a really good observation actually. So and it was kind of funny. It kind of fits like there's an old saying that this is the rule of biology, is that there's not really a rule. There's guidelines. Like there's so many exceptions to everything. So it's like you can kind of have like, you can kind of have like a guideline of like how nature works, but then there's something that kind of throws it off. So it's like, I'm trying to think of an example. I mean that's an example, like the sand tiger shark, but there's like birds versus bats is a great example where it's like, okay, one way you could define birds is these are animals with feathers that fly, and it's like, well, wait a minute, bats can fly, so you can't use flying as a metric to classify birds. You have to be more specific. You have to be like, well, in general, most animals that fly are birds, but there's exception, bats fly, or most vertebrates that fly are birds, but there's an exception, bats fly. I don't know. Sorry, I'm kind of going off track for a little bit, but yeah, I think sand tiger sharks kind of break that theory, but it's a really good theory because I think you can make an argument for a correlation between size and mode of reproduction. That actually would be a really cool study. So really appreciate that comment. That's a pretty cool observation. So More names for this is sharkreferences.com. I won't read all of them. All the English ones are basically the same, so I think we'll just kind of keep going for the sake of time. It's actually, I can't believe it's already 10:30. So what we can do is we can actually pick a species for next week. So if anyone has a preference for a species, please leave it in the chat. We've covered over 100 sharks already, so we may have covered the species already, but there's 500 in the world, so please feel free to leave multiple nominations in the chat for next week's shark, and we'll see what we'll do. So, I think also for the last 30 minutes, we'll dive into some Starry Smoothhound research, and I'll try to see if I can find something pretty succinct and interesting. Let's see. There was one about microplastics that I think is kind of important. Let's see. Here we go. I think this is important. It's an important field of study. So I wonder if there's a way I could just make this more visible for everybody. Let's see. Getting there, but it's not quite solving the problem, is it? Okay, there we go. That's kind of better. It's not great, but I think we'll take it. There we go. Okay. So this is investigating the presence of microplastics in demersal sharks of the Northeast Atlantic. I think this would be a really good one to kind of review. So it's by Christian J. Parton, Brennan J. Godley, David Santillo, Mohammed Tassif, Lucy C.M. O'Meyer, and Tamara S. Galloway. So from Scientific Reports. So here we go. Microplastic pollution is ubiquitous in the marine environment and is ingested by numerous marine species. Sharks are an understudied group regarding their susceptibility to microplastic ingestion. Here we provide evidence of ingestion of microplastics and other anthropogenic fibers in 4 demersal shark species found in the waters of the United Kingdom and investigate where the body burdens of contamination vary according to species, sex, or size. Sharks were collected from the Northeast Atlantic. Stomach and digestive tracts of 46 sharks and 4 species were examined, and 67% of samples contained at least one contaminant particle. Although we acknowledge modest sample size, estimated particle burden increased with body size, but did not vary systematically with sex or species. A total of 379 particles were identified, leading to median estimates ranging from 2 to 7.5 ingested contaminants per animal for the 4 species. The majority are fibrous in nature, 95% in blue, 88% or black, 99% in color. A subsample of contaminants were subject to FTIR spectroscopy, and polymers identified as synthetic cellulose, polypropylene, polyacrylamides, and polyester. The level of risk posed to shark species by this level of contamination is unknown. Nevertheless, this study presents the first empirical evidence of an important baseline for ingestion of microplastics and other anthropogenic fibers in native UK shark species and highlights the pervasive natures of these pollutants. So that's terrifying, isn't it?
And it's really sad.
But microplastics are a really important field. I would say probably one of the most important fields that have emerged. I would say in the last 10 years. I would say maybe not emerged, but you know. Maybe it's stream once a week for 3 years, give or take now. So. Let's say roughly. It depends. It's an ambitious goal. I'm very curious of doing it. I think we can maybe do it. It depends. I mean, I'm not gonna lie. One day, if I'm a father, I don't know if I could do this. I'm gonna be completely real with everybody. Like, I don't know. If I have a kid one day, I don't know. The audio is squeaky. Sorry about that. And if I'm a father one day, I don't know if I could hit all 500 sharks. But actually, I would rather like in that scenario. And that, by the way, I don't plan on doing this for a very long time. But in that scenario, I guess I would take a hiatus and return gloriously potentially. So But that may not happen, and the horizon may be wide open for all 500 sharks. So right now, maybe it may be. Let me think about this. If we've covered 105 sharks already, and there's some weeks I can't do the stream. Like a couple weeks ago, I wasn't feeling well. And I really appreciate this community is super understanding. I really, really appreciate this community as far as like if I'm feeling sick or something, or if an emergency happens, like let's say emergency, feeling sick, holidays, I do take off just to be with family. But like let's say I roughly miss 4 weeks, maybe in a year. So it's like 48 weeks, right? So 48 sharks a year. That's a great question, actually. Oh man, this is gonna be a while, isn't it? Ooh, Howard, these are awesome suggestions. Sorry, Borneo shark, Sulagalm shark, hook-tooth shark. These are great suggestions. Yes to one of these. I'm gonna look that up in a second. So there's 500. Let me double check what this sounds really silly. I don't know if you were here for this. Barricadina. Bibia. Sorry, I don't know why. There's a stream I was looking up Barricadinas for some reason, but that's not what I want to find. I want to find list of sharks. I don't know if you're here for this stream, but Wikipedia, funnily enough, has kind of the best, most updated list of sharks. So I am on here just to figure out how many sharks there are. So 556 species. This is unbelievable how fast this is growing, actually. Because again, when I was a child in the 90s, it was 300 species, like maybe 360. We've discovered more than 100 species in the past like 30 years. It's unbelievable. So 556, right? So if it's 556, we've already covered 106. 450 divided by 48 weeks in a year. 9 years! So I might be here for 9 years. At least. We'll see. I mean, you never know. It's kind of incredible I've been here for 2 years. It's kind of incredible we've been here for 2 years doing 100 sharks. So theoretically, maybe 9 years of the Dr. Jaws Live Shark Study Party. Maybe. I'm very proud of what we've done already. I'm very proud of the species we've covered already. And I'm excited to do more. So, yeah, that's wild. Oh, thank you. I appreciate that. I'm very impressed with the streams, especially considering the large amount of streams. Oh, thank you. I really appreciate that, baby. Thank you so much. Let's see. Hook-tooth shark. Bibia votes hook-tooth as well. I think that sounds good. Let me make sure we didn't do that one. So, hook-tooth shark is... I'm going to check right here really quick. Hook-tooth shark. A hook-tooth shark is a Hemigaliidae. So this is Kynogaleus macrostoma. So I'm just checking. I broke the channel up into the orders, which I'm really happy to have organized it like that because it makes looking things up pretty convenient. So let's see. Carcharodontiforms. Got snaggletooth. Speartooth, spade nose, dagger nose. I think this might be a go. Let's see, man, fine tooth. We've done so many. Okay, hooktooth is wide open. Let's do it. Let's do it. Yeah, that's assuming you can keep up with discoveries. Oh my gosh, thank you, Howard. That's so true. Actually, that's assuming. So actually, it'll be interesting. I should probably calculate the rate of species discovery. You know what? All right, actually, I think there's a way to do this. I do have a shark book in the corner, but first, let me get the species really quick. Hook-tooth shark. Kynogaleus. Macrostoma. All right, so that will be next week's shark. Kynogalus macrostoma, the hook-tooth shark. This is going to be extremely cool because this is of the family Hemigaliidae, and we've done a few of them, but it's a family I'm not super familiar with. We don't have Hemigaliids in Virginia, so yeah, appreciate that. 9 years, LOL. I'm not sure I could keep that up just watching. It's very early in the morning here, but sharks are cool, very interesting stuff. Thank you, Bibia. I'm going to start that comment too. I appreciate that. I really appreciate you watching this channel. That means a lot to me, so thank you. Yeah, 9 years is a huge undertaking. I'm kind of like, let's just see how far we can go, because it's kind of cool that we've done 106 sharks already. And it's what I'm really happy about, by the way, is like, my channel is still, I mean, by YouTube standards, it's still microscopic, and it's kind of cool that we're in this fun phase of like we have a very small community, and that's good. Like it provides more intimate discussion, it provides more like fun one-on-one stuff, and it's really cool that we're kind of all here on the ground level. If it starts building up more, and as we continue to talk about more shark species, the chat starts to get really big. It's cool that we have this snapshot right now where it's like, yeah, these were the good old the small indie days, So we'll see how many sharks we can get, kind of like while the channel is like really small, and then we'll see what happens as far as like. I really hope it continues to be like, and I think it will be. I mean, sharks are such a unique subject and such like a niche subject, and especially shark science. Like I think, it's. You have to really start looking for it to kind of like find like you have to really be interested in like the lesser known species to maybe find this channel. So we'll see. I think we'll have a lot of fun times to come. As far as like the 556 species, I don't know if we'll be able to get to them all, but I think we're going to accomplish a lot because it's like we've done a lot already, and I'm still very much like energized. Like I still love doing this, and like I love the community that we built together. So I'm in. I'm in for. I definitely think we can hit 200. I absolutely believe we can get to at least 200, and then when we get there, maybe 300. So we'll see what happens. But I am going to put. Let's see. There is a way to calculate the rate of. Oh, these are different content. There's a way to calculate the rate of species increase. So I'm just going to grab, there's a shark book in the corner that I have. It's actually one of the formative shark books for me personally. Let me go grab it really quick. Oh, actually, you know what? I have a fossil too. Let's see. Sorry, kind of fun show and tell, by the way. I went fossil hunting. Howard, yes, there's so much to talk about. Absolutely. I went fossil hunting Saturday at a place called Caledon State Park. This is in, and I'll put this in the chat. Hey, Bruce, what's up? Oh, yes, remember to put the name in the book in the chat. Yes, absolutely. So first, let me do fossil hunting. Caledon State Park. Caledon State Park. Potomac River. Or I guess I'll just say Caledon State Park, Virginia. Okay, so this is one of my favorite fossil sites, and please, like if anybody does visit, this area, please keep the site under wraps because it's a good one. I feel like Virginia likes to advertise, fossil hunting to such a degree that people kind of pick some sites clean. So this one is still a good one. So this is Caledon State Park, and I went there Saturday. I walked away with what I think is an oxyrhina. So it's definitely a lamniform tooth type, but this was collected, and I believe this part of the Potomac River gets a little tricky because most of the Virginia fossils are Miocene. but there is a Paleocene strata in that part of the river. So this, I think, is a Miocene shark, this Oxyrhina. And I think it is Oxyrhina, so this is kind of like a mako-looking shark. Like, when I first look at these kinds of teeth, I immediately think of sand tiger sharks, but it's not. It doesn't have the cusplets that sand tigers have. So, but this was the fossil I collected Saturday, and it was actually a pretty large specimen. So I was really excited about that. And I posted on this channel's community page, which is, it's kind of been a fun resource. Actually, why am I talking about it? Let me go ahead and pull it up. Let's go to Dr. Jaws. Posts. It's kind of fun. We're at 261 subs, by the way, which, like, when you look at when the first stream happened, I think we're up 100, so it's kind of fun. But anyway, I posted this on the community page. So this is the same park, Cowden State Park. And I put the fossils that I collected next to the ID guide that Cowden has. So it's kind of like a fun little snapshot of the fossils that you can find there. So this one, I'm not 100% sure if that is Isurus. It is a wide tooth type. This one is definitely a sand tiger shark because it has little cusplets here. And then actually, I have more here. I had a hammerhead Spherna. If it lets me load. There we go. There we go. So yeah, I did get some Spherna teeth. This one is a little debatable, but this one definitely looks like a Spherna tooth because it's so wide. This looks like a porbeagle, Lana cornubica. Just because it looks a little different, like the actual main crown is smaller than the sand tiger tooth. So, but yeah. Apparently Cowden has meg teeth, but, you know, I've not seen anything. I actually have not collected a meg in Virginia at all. And they're here. They, like, you know, Megalodon fossils are totally here. The Megalodon fossils that I send for, like, the prizes, like, for our fossil contests, those are from a friend from Cooper River, South Carolina. So all those meg teeth, all those Carcrocles, Anguistidens teeth, those are from South Carolina. But Virginia has meg teeth too, and they're really rare, or they're really hard to find. You know, there's some like secret spots that unfortunately are on private land, so you can't get to them. But anyway, so that was my little fossil show and tell. So, oh, thanks, Howard. Okay, Howard concurs. It looks like Oxyrhina. Awesome. So. Oh, interesting. Not many fossils here in North Netherlands. Soil here is sandy, clay, and young. I'm actually kind of curious, and not to put you on the spot, Howard, but you might know more than I do. Near the Netherlands, are there any famous shark fossil sites? Because I know there's some incredible... I forget where it is, but there's some incredible European fossils. Some of them like with like full, like, preserved... like skeletons, which is really rare, but I forget where they came from. So, oh yeah, Cooper River is a super dangerous dive. Yes, those South Carolina fossils, like the divers who collected them, really brave because you have to be comfortable with zero visibility in the water that is shared by alligators and water moccasins, also known as cottonmouths, which are extremely venomous. Those will send you to the hospital. So this is really damaged, but this is my 90s shark book. So this is just called Sharks. It's a pretty good one though. It is by Matthews, and it is from Discovery Channel Books. Back when Discovery Channel was fantastic. Unfortunately, I feel like it's really not fantastic anymore. But I brought this book out because it's kind of fun to calculate the trajectory of the stream and what we can do as far as like how many the rate of sharks being discovered. So this book was 1996. It's Monday night, but I think I could do math. 1996. And it's saying that there are, it's going to give me somewhere the number of sharks that we have. Okay, Okay, blah blah blah. Blah blah blah. 370. So in 1996, there were 370 species of sharks. Okay. Now there's 556. So it's 186 sharks. 29 years. So 6 sharks a year. Okay, so 6 sharks a year. And if we do this in 9 years, is 57. So it's 10 years. So it's maybe 11 years. Okay. So doing that math right. Okay. If the rate of discovery, so we calculated that I would have to do this stream for 9 years, 9 more years to get all 556 species. But if we included the rate of discovery, which is there were 6 new sharks discovered every year, that would add times 9 years, 57 species. So that actually makes it out to be roughly 10, maybe rounding up to 11 years. So, so, can Dr. Jaws last for 10 years is going to be the ultimate question. Maybe. My oldest video, I think, is from 2015 or 2014. So I've been here for 10 years. Because I used to do, like, more traditional, just classic videos. I experimented a lot, I think, in the early days of the channel. Ooh, Howard, I'd love to see a census of fossil shark species. Let's see. You know what? That's a great question. Let's see. The closest thing I've got is shark references. Let's go to the... Oh, actually, you know what? Extinct valid. Let's check out sharkreferences.com, extinct valid. Oh man, oh man, oh man. Whew. Okay, there's no way we can count this, but actually, does this even include everything alphabetically? No, it even... Okay. So let me put this in the chat for you, Howard. This is the closest we can get to it, and I think it's going to be enormous, but... So this is sharkreferences.com. This has the list of all species, and when you look on this website, you have 4 categories: extant all, extant valid, extinct all, extinct valid. So I would highly recommend the extinct valid page, because all is going to include all the old names, and that is going to get super confusing super quickly. So I would just do the valid list. So that's the one I sent. But this is just and this is already enormous. So I'm actually kind of curious. I'm just going to hop around here. Abdunia, I have no idea what that is. Acrotis, I have no idea what that is. Lopias is thresher sharks. Amylodon, like this is really cool. These are all fossil sharks. So this list is enormous. I wish they had a summary. I could check Wikipedia one more time, and then we'll go back to the microplastic study, and then we'll wrap up. But Wikipedia. I was looking up. I was trying to find. Just as kind of like a fun fact, I was trying to find information on where I was collecting, because this is the site I was collecting, is where it says King George. This is where Caledon State Park is. And it's in, I think it's in the Nanjamoy Formation, fossil-wise. Or I guess this is saying this is Talbot Formation. But it's not Pliocene and Pleistocene, because, those shark teeth at least are the Miocene. And those sites, I know someone was talking about, like, some of those sharks can be from the Oligocene, so... I don't know. Sorry, random thing. But let's see if I can get a list of fossil sharks. Kind of curious. Let's see shark tooth really quick. Yeah, I don't think it's going to show me that. So I think the closest is going to be, yeah, because you have the list of sharks here, but these are the living sharks. So, yeah, I guess the closest is going to be what I put in the chat. So, yeah. But anyway, we'll wrap up with the microplastic study, and then I think we'll wrap up for the night. But I think the microplastic study is really important. Just to reemphasize, is microplastics is a real and really critically important field. It's really sad to see that sharks are ingesting microplastics, including our Starry Smoothhound, which is figure B. It's kind of interesting to see that the Starry Smoothhound has been ingesting mostly blue and black plastics, whereas some of the other sharks are getting other ones. So it's kind of interesting. But long story short, what's important is be very careful with fish consumption or seafood consumption. And be mindful of where you source your seafood from. And full transparency, like I depending on if there's an occasion or if I'm traveling or something, I will order seafood if it's locally sourced and if it's a good fishery. But even so, seafood, fish that ingest microplastics or fish that are in areas that are kind of near polluted water, they accumulate toxins, they accumulate these things in our bodies. So it's just it's important to be aware of this. It's bad for the environment, but it's also it's karma for humans too, where these plastics come back. And if we eat seafood that's high in microplastics, then we ingest that as well, and we ourselves become high in microplastics. So just it's a very important field of study. And I think just very wise to be mindful of. So, let's see. I will just kind of get to the discussion as it relates to our smoothhound. Musteus asterias is figure B. Apparently, unfortunately, the smoothhound eats mostly synthetic cellulose, a little bit of olefin polypropylene, a little bit of polyester, a little bit of polyacrylamide, and then cellophane is the lowest amount. But it's kind of interesting to see. Look how different the diet is across these sharks. Some of it could be sample size, but some of it could also be habitat selection, like how each shark occupies a different habitat. I'm kind of curious. Discussion. Here you go. Okay. No substantial difference in microplastic uptake among the shark species. Greater levels of contamination might be expected in animals that inhabit other parts of the UK with lower water quality. Although we have not demonstrated any health impacts on the sharks, the presence of these particles and contaminants indicates their pervasiveness in the marine environment. With increasing global plastic production and its prevalence in everyday products, the abundance of such marine pollutants is likely set to increase. Okay, do Starry. The species in the study show some variation in their published dietary strategies, with starry smoothhounds and spiny dogfish having fairly specialist diets compared to small spotted cat sharks and bullhuss, which are more generalists. So it makes sense that smoothhounds are specialists because, again, they have those special teeth that are specialized for crustaceans and mollusks. So we may have expected generalist feeding sharks to have more contaminants due to feeding on a wider range of prey items. However, this was not evident. Interesting. I'm sure this is still in the discussion. Yes, it is. Okay. Okay. Just kind of skimming through this. This is not our species, but research has revealed that spiny dogfish and small spotted cat shark are regularly sold in fish and chip shops under the pseudonyms such as rock salmon, and murgy. If contaminants are able to pass from the digestive tract of the muscle tissues of these shark species, then humans may inadvertently be consuming these pollutants. Although currently there is no conclusive evidence to suggest these pollutants present inherent health risks to humans, we recommend further research to investigate the presence or absence of these contaminant particles in the muscle tissues of these shark species and other fish consumed across the world. Let's see, conclusions. This study presents the first evidence of microplastics and anthropogenic fiber contaminants in a range of native UK demersal shark species. Although not occurring in as high levels as in other marine megafauna, the presence of anthropogenic particles in these marine species highlights their ubiquitous nature. Although highly unlikely, neither individual nor population level effects of this level of contamination are known. Due to these low levels of ingestion, these species are perhaps not ideal candidates to be used as bioindicators for marine pollution in demersal habitats when compared to other bony fish species. Nonetheless, if inorganic pollutants can attach to these microfibers, alongside a future increase in their prevalence throughout the marine environment, biological side effects may occur. Further research on the sources and pathways of anthropogenic fibers may inform policy to reduce their overall prevalence in the environment. By eliminating their production in everyday products through supporting reduction, reuse, and replacement of fiber-generating materials from the resource flow, and implementing strategies to prevent their initial entry into the oceans, there lies the potential to dramatically reduce the occurrence of microfibers in the marine environment and across food webs. So, really good study, very important field. And sorry if that's kind of like a bummer. So I want to put Howard's beautiful piece of art on as the last image, but just how everything relates in the ecosystem. It's really, really important study. So let me catch up in the comments. Really cool Canada, very famous for fossil finds. Dinosaur material in Alberta. Early sharks in the East Coast. Oh, this is cool. Spiny sharks. I forgot about that. Spiny sharks in Niagara Falls area. That's extremely cool. Bruce, yes, keep an eye out for where the locals eat. Said before, people who are for pollution should only be allowed to provide foodstuff produced in polluted environments that can affect their health. Pass that law and the water's clear overnight. Yep. Agreed. Good idea, Bruce. Yep. Bibia, paper straws are fine in my opinion. I tend to clean up after I left, especially outdoors use after trash can for carrying home with. Yes. Actually, yes. I do that too. That's actually really great. And actually, when I went fossil hunting, and every time I go out on the beach, unfortunately, there's a lot of crap. There's plastic trash, and I pick it up and I put it in my bag and I throw it out later. And the thing is, it's good for the environment to do that. If you're out on the beach somewhere and you see plastic, it's so bad for the environment that it's important to just pick it up. The nice thing is, in a weird way, depending on what the item is, usually all the organic material is gone. All the germy stuff is usually gone. It depends on the item. So plastic, I feel very comfortable. If I see it on the beach, I feel very comfortable picking up just random plastic trash, putting it in my bag, and then throwing it out later. And I feel really good about doing that because, I know that, that thing, if it gets into the water, it chokes sea turtles. It's an attractant to fish. And it really shouldn't be in the marine environment. So if you're ever on the beach, it's such a good thing to pick up trash and pick up plastic. So Bibia, that's awesome that you do that. I definitely agree with that. So Bruce, I volunteer at a salmon hatchery and keep the forest nearby clean to the best of my ability. Awesome. I'm gonna star that because bravo, Bruce. That's exactly what we need. Honestly, it's just such an important thing, where it's all these things, whether it's trash in the forest, trash on the beach, they all eventually can lead back to the marine environment. They all affect the marine environment. They affect any environment. So, if it's organic stuff like an orange or, grapes or something, that's relatively okay. It's not really good for the wildlife, but, at least it can biodegrade. Plastic can't. So if you ever see plastic in the wild, it's extremely important to just grab it and just throw it away. So bravo for both of you. Bravo Bibia and bravo Bruce for just, being stewards of the environment, and picking up. So that's awesome. So, thank you for joining. I just saw your phone message. Thank you, Bibia666 for joining. So really appreciate you being here. Thank you, Howard, for joining. Thank you, Bruce, for joining. I think since it's almost 11, it's time to wrap up. So, but I really appreciate you all being on tonight's stream. I think it was a really cool one. And Howard, thank you again for this amazing piece of art on the Starry Smoothhound. This looks phenomenal. And it's my favorite piece of 2025 so far. So, super, super cool. I love how you do the yellow lighting. I remember the Mako Shark piece last year. That was just, there was a similar technique, and I really, really like it. So, but thank you guys so much for watching. Tune in next week for the hook-tooth shark. That's going to be a really cool species of a family that like needs more attention, needs more coverage. It's not a very well-known family compared to like something like Carcharinidae or Squalidae. So super excited to dive into that shark. So and just explore some of that unique biology for Hemigaliidae. So, but tune in next week. Hope you guys stay warm with the winter weather, and spring is just around the corner. But thank you again for joining tonight, and I will see you for the hook-tooth shark. Cheers. Catch you later.